Elizabeth Warren. It is. She's striking back, creating a rift in the Democratic Party that lots of donkeys would love to heal before the midterms. Speaking of which, is she right? Or is she just being a jackass? We'll talk about it next on The Independent. Welcome back to The Independent. With 33% less statism than other independent programs, Senator Elizabeth Warren, the Indian princess of Harvard, thinks our broken entitlement system just doesn't go far enough. There's a chasm within the Democratic Party over Social Security, and the Warrenization of America starts with fattening up programs that are already broke. All right, so Camille, explain this to us. What is the Social Security rift?
Well, Elizabeth Warren is outraged that Third Way, a Democratic think tank, a centrist Democratic think tank, is calling her out for consistently insisting, I like that Social Security is totally fine. When, in fact, Social Security is actuarially unsound. And this is totally obvious to anyone with half a brain in their head.
Or a basic calculator from Radio Shack.
Absolutely. I mean, we've already
not even one of the scientific ones. Like, it's plain and simple. Social Security going broke.
Demographic challenges are totally obvious, and the Social Security Administration themselves have already told us that within the next 3 years, that the disability portion of the trust fund is going to run out. Those benefits will be slashed, and she's telling us we have 20 years to figure this problem out.
Oh, we've
totally
got
untrue.
at least till 2037 or 2018. Now, Steve, tell me about Elizabeth Warren. Sell me on Elizabeth Warren, because I'm not there yet.
I love me some Senator Elizabeth Warren.
Okay.
She's absolutely right in terms of the retirement portion of the Social Security Trust Fund. I agree with Camille on the disability portion. The fix to it is exactly what Elizabeth Warren was saying, and that is remove the cap on FICA. It's one of the most non-impact taxes that you can have.
Most people don't encounter, and you'll create more.
But Kennedy, most people don't encounter that until the second half of the year. They've already budgeted that. That's already not in their budget for the first half of the year. By the time they hit it, they don't even expect that money. It's the most non-impact tax.
That's welfare.
That you can have.
That's welfare. $113,700. That's the cap. It's high enough. Most people in America don't make that. You're paying 6% of your salary up to that. It is a progressive system.
I hit it when it was back at 70,000, 80,000, and I will tell you, I am.
All right, Steve.
It's been a number of years, but I will tell you that when I hit it, I was exactly like what you described. I already had a budget. I knew exactly how much I had to spend, and I hit it in August or September. That was free money. I didn't need it. You know what I mean? At that point, I liked it. I always like free money.
I don't want the government to tell me what I need, though, Matt. Am I wrong?
Free money.
You're not wrong. What's interesting here is how the center of the Democratic Party economically has just shifted a lot. It's gone much more in the direction of Elizabeth Warren, much away from the direction of people like Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton, remember his speech at the Democratic Convention? Everyone was laughing at the Republicans because he said, well, that's just arithmetic, right? Remember that whole thing? He said in the same speech,
unsustainable,
that we've got to tackle this debt problem, or it's long-term debt problem, or it's going to tackle us. Bill Clinton tried in his second term to continually go after the long-term entitlements. Barack Obama, when he first went into office, said, if I don't fix entitlements in my first 4 years, we're going to be screwed. He has stopped trying to. I'm sorry, it's 9 o'clock. Okay. The midnight show, it'll be fine.
Right.
But Democrats have stopped talking about this to any degree, and Republicans have largely stopped talking about it as well, except kind of on the side, not really actually trying to own it or stand in front of it. I think that's a really real problem going forward, because everybody, Congressional Budget Office, the President of the United States, everybody says, long-term, this thing is sinking us. So I'm waiting for someone to deal with it instead of politicking the other way.
Ford, you're doing the pinchy fingers, which means you have a point. Let's go.
I want to enter a new term in the political vernacular, and that's dino. We've got two things here. We've got basically economic populists, which Elizabeth Warren represents, and then economic realists, which is more of the Clinton wing of the party. That's not an endorsement for Clinton. But I'm going to say this. These guys don't care what it costs. It's all about the social good, rule of law, balance sheets. Don't matter. That's what these guys are doing. And essentially, she can say, well, it's not going to go bankrupt by 2031. Yeah, you wonder what it does to expand it the way she wants to do it? It's $760 billion over 10 years for basically millennials and Generation Xers, and then another $760 billion on businesses. We can barely hire people. You know what that's going to do to everybody?
Yes, it's going to cripple small businesses.
You know, this is what they say. The rich can pay a little more. Let's break up the big banks. It's all for the greater good. You wonder what's going to happen to America?
Well, she also wants to raise the federal minimum wage. She's one of those $15 an hour people, but that ultimately hurts poor people.
Well, let's back up Elizabeth for a second here. Why shouldn't someone who makes $114,000 pay on that marginal dollar the same amount that someone who makes $15,000 pays in FICA taxes if that actuarially fixes the problem. What's your argument against that?
Well, I don't know that it actuarially fixes the problem. If I know that it does, no, but if it does, then maybe we should investigate that. But look, we need to investigate a way. This is going to drop, what, by 2031? I mean, what else are we going to do? And remember, this is an outdated program. When Social Security started, what was the first year, 1935? 57,000 people on it. It's ballooned up to 57 million. I mean, you cannot, and given the fact that we have, what, one worker paying out for 3 beneficiaries, you can't control the demography's off. But you see what I'm saying?
And
I don't buy that.
And you know what? There used to be pensions. This is the big problem. Americans all had pensions through their jobs. Social Security is not supposed to be what everybody has to live on. That's the problem. And I'd really like to see a bipartisan solution to how we get Americans some sort of pension, some sort of retirement that they can all live on, so we don't have to rely so much on Social Security.
Well, why don't you make them a little bit more private so people have some say in their economic future? Why is that such a foul premise?
No, you know what? People are saving, and you know what's happening?
They can't determine.
No, you know what's happening is that
they can't regulate it. That's
in the last 30 to 40 years, it's been much more common for people to get laid off. So what's happening is people, during the times that they're laid off, during the times that they're unemployed, they're having to use their savings and their retirement money to live during that period of time. So they don't have pensions. They're using their savings to get through hard times.
And they're going to start eating babies, and that is the great tragedy of the American political landscape, and that's the memo. All right, coming up, the handshake seen around the world proves our president is a secret communist, or at least the embargo with Cuba is so 1962. Up next, combing the budget with a Republican who's so mad he might take off his Patriot hat and beat Paul Ryan to death with it. It's coming up. Stay here.
Every day we're working to be an even better company.